to or back to Earth Rising. I'm Bird, and on this channel, we just talk about, a lot of things dealing with astrology. And lately, we've been talking about, your natal Mercury, your natal chart, well, your natal birth chart. Um, so we're going to be talking about Capricorn today. And if you have Mercury in Capricorn, most likely your sun sign is either Sagittarius, Capricorn, or Aquarius, because Mercury is always close to the sun. It's not going to stray away. And so, if you want to know exactly where your Mercury placement is, you can go to Google, type in free birth chart calculator, or go to like AstroSeek, Astro Cafe. There's several different websites that you can go to find your birth chart, and you can pinpoint exactly where your Mercury is. And once you do that, and if you see that your Mercury is in Capricorn, you may be able to resonate with some of the things in this video. So first, I'm just gonna say, if you are born with your Mercury in Capricorn, you could possibly be somebody who likes to plan things, like plan steps ahead, so I can make sure I reach this step, that step, the next step. And you also like to achieve goals. You can be very capable and ambitious. And also, if you have this placement, make sure that you pay attention to where Saturn is in your birth chart, because Mercury deals with like the way that we think, the way we communicate, write, and stuff like that. So if Saturn is in a place where it's comfortable, like for example in Capricorn or in Aquarius, your Mercury will be able to express itself better because there's nothing fighting against, Capricorn. But like if Saturn is like, let's say you're born with Saturn in Pisces, Saturn is not necessarily as comfortable in Pisces because Saturn is about logic and Pisces is more about feelings. So also pay attention to where Saturn is. And if your Saturn is roaming free, happy, and has nothing stopping it from doing what it has to do, then therefore your Mercury will be able to do what it has to do. And like I was saying, if you have this sign, well, you have this placement, you are more likely the type of person who will want to focus on the reality. Like you might even be seen as a realist instead of like an optimist or something. Sometimes people might think of you as a pessimist. Not necessarily, it's just that you're looking at the logic of the situation. You're not sugarcoating it. You're not, pacifying it. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're like, hey, a snake is a snake, a wolf is a wolf, a fox is a fox. It's not anything else. You're just pointing out the facts. You can also be good with controlling your thoughts, and you can also be good at directing your thoughts in where you want them to go. Like, for example, if somebody says, don't think of a white elephant, you'll be more likely to be the person like, okay, so now I want to think of a brown dog. And you will think about a brown dog. And I know that there's other ways that you can, direct your thoughts. Like, let's say if you're trying to manifest something, you're trying to think on a particular thing, you might find that something easier for you to do. Unlike people with their Mercury signs and other placement, it might be a bit more difficult for them to focus their thoughts on one thing because they're thinking about so much other stuff. It's like, how can I control my thoughts? You don't necessarily have that issue, which is a good thing. Um, and you also are careful with the information that you share because you work for your information. So you're not just going to give it out to any and everyone. You're going to be careful with who you give information to. Like, even if it's something that's small, especially with the big stuff, you'll be more careful on who you share information with. And you will typically not be someone who is a big fan of like meaningless gossip because it's not getting you anywhere. It's like, okay, so you're doing this meaningless gossip that's not benefiting me, you, or the person who you're talking about. It's like I don't care about that because it's really not doing anything to benefit nobody. So you're not even really focused on it. You're not a big fan of it. So you'll be more likely the type of person who don't even really participate in much gossip. Now, if it's something meaningful, yeah, that's different. But meaningless, no. Um, you can also like for people to be straightforward with you, because for one, you won't be so quick to beat around the bush. So you won't want for somebody else to do the same thing with you. It's more like if something happened, just go ahead and tell me that it happened. Don't give me a whole entire 3-page essay just to tell me what happened. Just go ahead and get to it so we can go on, which I think is how we should be anyway. But yeah. You can have a very good memory, like how elephants never forget, even though I know that, the Capricorn animal isn't even an elephant, but still, you never forget. Let me take that back. You have good memory. I'm not gonna say you never forget. Never say never. But you can have pretty good memory. So if somebody were to get into an argument with you and you remember certain dates and times, I feel sorry for them. Just gonna put it like that. You may possibly be a perfectionist, and just remember that it's okay for things to not be perfect. But if you're a Capricorn Mercury, yeah, you might struggle with that a bit much. But also, when you were a child and in your early life, you could have suffered from, or you could have had, low self confidence, and you could have been very shy, growing up. But it wasn't until like you got older that you were able to have your moment to shine, to get out of your shell. And also, if you have this Mercury placement in Capricorn, you are more likely to be able to understand rules because, for one, you like rules, you like lists, you like rules and you like plans, stuff like that. So it's easy for you to understand, but also you could be too strict in your thinking. Like, don't don't beat yourself up for things that you feel like you should have done or should not have done from in the past because it's not going to get you anywhere now. So the best thing to do is to focus on the now and go forward. And you can also possibly be somebody who worries a lot. Like you're always worrying about what's going to happen next or what's going to happen tomorrow or worry about what did happen or anything. Basically, you can be very worried about it, but it's just because you want to have stuff perfect. You want to have stuff just right. And, it's okay for things to not be perfect. But yeah, so if you do have this Mercury placement, let me know what you resonated with and if I left anything out. And have a good one.